Hello and welcome to the Pearly Eye Review. I'm PJ. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, whatever you celebrate. I wanted to create this video talking about my favorite film versions of Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol. Now, there have been so many versions out there, TV versions, animated movie TV versions, and live action movie versions. The Flintstones did one. Mr. Magoo did one. There was years ago a CGI version where Jim Carrey did one. I believe Christopher Plummer played Scrooge in an adaptation of A Christmas Carol. Patrick Stewart has done one. And recently I saw like a promo on TV of Andy Serkis. I believe he's playing the ghost of Christmas Present, if I'm not mistaken. And I saw it really quick. It was on TV and it went really fast. I just caught a glimpse of it. And it looks pretty chilling. It looks like this ain't your grandpappy's Christmas Carol. Usually with these, people like to do like a top 10. We don't have time for that. So I decided, I thought of it as if I, for whatever reason, I was only allowed to watch three versions of A Christmas Carol, and I would have to pick my top three that I would only have to watch those three forever and ever. I was only allowed to. And which ones would I pick? Also, for some people, they grew up with the 1951 version with I believe the actor's name was Alistair. Yeah, I tried peeking at that one, and yeah, I didn't have the patience for it. Yeah, it wasn't for me. But I don't judge anybody else if that is your favorite version. But let's start off with my pick for number three. Okay, drum roll. Number three would be The Muppets Christmas Carol. This movie came out in 1992, and it is directed by Brian. I'm looking down, making sure. Yep, Brian Henson, Jim Henson's son. I'm looking down at my notes so I won't forget anything. And it stars Michael Caine, Kermit the Frog as Bob Cratchit, Miss Piggy as Mrs. Cratchit, Gonzo as Charles Dickens, the narrator. As the movie goes along, he narrates and tells what's happening, and various Muppets playing different characters. I like the set design in this. It makes you appreciate costume designers, because think about it. Whoever worked on this film, the costume designers or designer had to design each and every costume, not only for some of the human characters in this movie, but also the Muppets. The Muppets have to have clothes too. And I just thought their little costumes, their little outfits were adorable. I'm like, oh my God, they look so cute and amazing, and it just really fit the era and time for, the atmosphere of the movie. And the set pieces, how the puppets moved around by themselves or along with human characters. It was seamless. It transitioned very well, and they knew when to show the full body of the Muppet, or just have as mostly what you see is like the cutoff, and have like close-ups of them. The puppeteering, Frank Oz, and it's just who does Miss Piggy, and just it is Miss Piggy is hilarious in this. The puppeteering, the actors that do the puppeteering for the Muppets, it's superb in this. It's absolutely, they can they do no wrong? Even if like a Muppet movie isn't, the story isn't that great, the puppeteering is always top notch, I always think, in these Muppet films. Michael Caine is so great as Scrooge in this version. He looks like he is really taking this serious. he he is having a grand time acting alongside these Muppets. It just, there's a point where all even the ghost of past, present, and future are Muppets, and and the last one, the ghost of the future, Death, is a Muppet. You can't see it. It's just a dark figure in a robe, and he is begging for his life. Michael Caine has tears in his eyes, and he is just holding on to this Muppet like, please, please spare me, spirit. And he's got tears in his eyes. He's taking this seriously. I'm like, boy, if that's not a good actor, come on now. And he makes you believe. I just like the fact that he wasn't, snarky about it. Like, oh, I just want a paycheck, and I'm just, it's, I don't care, whatever. No, it looks like he's having a good time playing Scrooge along with every, all the puppeteers doing the Muppets, and just, he just, it's, I don't know, it's just heartwarming, even though you're not supposed to like Scrooge, but you like him because you could tell he's having a good time. And the comedic timing in this, I like how the Muppets are always self-aware. I just like how they just break the fourth wall. They talk to the camera and let you know, like, hey, we're in on this. we know this is all ridiculous, but just go along with us. I hadn't seen this in years, and I watched it obviously to do this video, and I laughed my butt off. I forgot how funny this was. I first saw this on TV when I was a kid, and I absolutely loved it. There's a part where Gonzo, as I said, is playing Charles Dickens. He's the, playing the author and narrating the story. And Gonzo and his sidekick is Rizzo the Rat. And there's a point where Gonzo is trying to look inside Scrooge's office, and he can't see because it's foggy, it's cold outside, it's snowing, and it just happens so quick. Gonzo grabs Rizzo the Rat and just slams him up, I mean, like, hard, up against the window, and starts using him like a cloth to unfog, like wipe the windows off. And Rizzo the Rat is like, he's like, really? Seriously, Gonzo? This is how you use me? I burst out laughing. It was really funny. And there's a part where Michael Caine, who plays Scrooge, there's a little Muppet rabbit, singing Christmas carols. He picks him up and just like throws him out of his office like a football. I'm like, there's nothing funnier than a Muppet being thrown across the room. Why do the Muppets always do that? They always throw like a Muppet across the room, and it is hilarious. I'm like, why do they always do it? But well, maybe because it's funny. But yeah, I laughed out loud. It is really, really funny. And also, the songs in this are really, really great. They're, I like the opening song, Scrooge, There goes Mr. Bah Humbug. There goes Mr. Grimm. If there's a prize for being mean, the winner would be him. That song. Uh, yeah, and with that, I do like all the songs, but if that the opening sequence, as I said, is my favorite. The one thing, the only those are all my likes. It's not necessarily a dislike, but the songs are great, but they go on. Some of them go on a little too long, and they should kind of wrap it up. And this, but to be fair, this is set up like a musical. But it overall, I love this film. It's one of my favorite. This is my pick for number 3, The Muppets Christmas Carol. And if you haven't seen it, I think you should check it out. Okay, next up, drum roll. For my pick for number 2, A Christmas Carol version, Mickey's Christmas Carol. Yeah, this is a Disney favorite. I think a lot of people like this, and including myself. Being a Disney fan, oh yeah, and a DuckTales fan, this is everything. This is the world to me. The characters are various Disney characters. Mickey Mouse is Bob Cratchit. Donald Duck plays Scrooge's nephew. It's sort of in their world imitating art, imitating life. He is Scrooge's nephew in real life. He plays Fred, Donald Duck, and Scrooge is of course playing himself, Scrooge. So there's no big surprise there. He loves money. And Jiminy Cricket plays the ghost of Christmas past. Who plays present? Oh, yeah. How could I forget this one? The giant from, remember the Mickey Mouse movie? Like, it's sort of like Jack and the Beanstalk. It's called Fancy Free, and the giant from that movie plays the ghost of Christmas Present. Now, here's the thing. This is why I love animation, because animation, there are no rules. You can get crazy, especially when there's, it's more comedy based, and you can be a little bit more silly. Now, the giant, they didn't downsize him to make him into, a normal human man. He's still big. He's still a giant. And how he like searches for the next place to show the present to Scrooge, to be observant. It's like he opens the tops of houses and looks in, and people are like screaming. You don't see them, but you hear them. He opens like people's houses like boxes. It's just the rooftops, and you hear people screaming like, ah! He's like, oh, sorry, and he closes it back, and he uses like a street lamp post as a flashlight, and it's like the size of a pencil, but the giant is using it like a flashlight, and he's like using it to search through the night for the next place to show Scrooge. I think just the cleverness of, like, whenever animation uses have their characters use like the objects around them and use them in ways like you wouldn't believe, like how they turn like ordinary objects into different things, useful, resourceful things. And I just absolutely love that. Like, with animation, you can do no wrong and you can be creative. This is why I'm such a fan of 2D animation. And I just thought that was funny that they kept who the giant was, but he was he was just doing things that worked for him, even though he was so large. And they didn't change his character, but he still played the part. I hope that's making sense if people understand what I'm saying about the cartoon giant. And what else did I like about this film? Also the play with animation when Jacob Marley, who's played by Goofy of all people. It's funny that he's playing such a scary character, but he's so clumsy. There's like, you know, he's sort of following Scrooge because Scrooge is terrified. He does the thing where Scrooge sees Jacob Marley's face on his like doorknob ornament or whatever, and he sees the ghost face, and Scrooge McDuck is terrified, and so he's trying to creep to his bedroom, and you see the shadow of Goofy as Jacob Marley following him, and it's sort of that play of the ghost popping in and out, and since it's like a shadow and it's following Scrooge, and it's I mean, we're talking about animation, and Scrooge is alive, but the shadow, you don't see the ghost, but you see Goofy's shadow, and he's like poking the shadow with his cane, and it's just it's just how he morphs in just the movement of just a cartoon shadow. I'm freaking out over a cartoon shadow. It's just the comedic timing and the movement of play of movement when he's like teasing him, like he looks back and he's nothing there, there's nothing there, and he pops back up and he's alive, but the shadow's just there. You don't see the figure of the ghost, but the shadow, and he's like poking the shadow with his cane. I really like that, and it was of course hilarious and funny. Um, Also, I like the voice acting in this. I miss. It made me realize I haven't seen this in years. The first time let's go back when I first saw this. I saw this on TV. I can't remember if it was The Wonderful World of Disney, but I remember one time I caught this on TV, and I was losing my mind because I was such a fan of DuckTales. I'm like, oh my god, they're doing a Christmas Carol. It's Donald Duck and Scrooge McDuck is in this, and Mickey Mouse. I saw it on TV in the 90s, mid 90s, late 90s, something like that. But anyways, you know, the the voice acting, it made me realize I hadn't seen this in years, and it made me realize how much I miss Alan Young, who does the voice of Scrooge. He did the voice of Scrooge in the original 1987 DuckTales TV show. And Alan Alwyn, who did for a long time was the voice of Mickey Mouse. They are just superb in this. And who else? Hal Smith as Goofy, and Willie Ryan as Pete. I like to see, although Jim Cumming is mostly now today is known for doing the voice of Pete. I think Jim Cummings is good at doing the comedy version of Pete, whereas this version, Will Ryan, this Pete was scary and was playing no games, and was very. Pete plays the ghost of the future, death in this. And also, the part where I think the most touching is where Tiny Tim dies, and like I said, Mickey Mouse plays Cratchit. Boy, if a cartoon ever earned, other than the genie from Aladdin, if a cartoon ever was able to earn an acting Oscar, can we give it to Mickey Mouse? Them tears, that mouse had them tears coming down. I'm like, oh my god, this is. I love when Disney does different things with Mickey Mouse, especially when they give him more depth, and they make him emotional. That's why I like King Mickey from Kingdom of Hearts. Well, Kingdom Hearts. Mickey Mouse isn't perfect. He makes mistakes, and he feels, he hurts. He gets angry. He gets sad. You know, he has these different emotions because his friends are in danger, or he wants to help his friends, or he just wants to help, the world. And yeah, that's why I like when they go outside of the box with Mickey Mouse, and that's why I just love this so much, that these characters are showing deep emotions, where these are like the sort of mascot characters for Disney, and they're usually just doing goofy things, and they don't really want them to be so deep like that. But this right here, if you want to see something different from the Fab Five, Mickey, Donald, Goofy, Pluto, Minnie, this is it. Any complaints I have about this? The fact that, well, this is not kind of their fault. This movie came out in 1983, and at the time they didn't have a voice actress for Minnie Mouse. So Minnie, the only thing I didn't like about this is that Minnie Mouse doesn't say anything. She is silent. She doesn't say a word because there was no voice actor. They couldn't find anybody to voice her. They didn't have Russie Taylor at the time, who eventually took over for the voice of Minnie Mouse. And unfortunately, Russie Taylor is no longer with us. So yeah, but she wasn't in this. They hadn't hired her yet. They hadn't found Minnie Mouse yet. And I think that's the only thing I didn't like about this. So yeah, that was number two version that I liked. I will love, I should say, Mickey's Christmas Carol. And now, drum roll, final, final. My number one pick. Some people may have guessed it. I love this version because it used to come on TV in the early 90s every Christmas on regular TV because I had cable. A Christmas Carol, 1984, starring George C. Scott. Yep, that's the version. That's my number one. This is a live action version. This is with no Muppets. This is my all-time favorite version. Let me tell you why. Number one, and this is a strange reason why I like this, because for me, it was sort of like a horror film, like a scary movie, because I vividly remember being a toddler and watching this on TV because I didn't have any control over what was on TV, and I had to sit and watch, look, whatever was on, whatever, I had no control. I had to watch what was on TV. The part where Jacob Marley comes in the room and you hear the shackles shaking and him screaming like, "Aah!" I'm like, oh my god, it just freaked me out. For a long time, I had to like watch this movie like this because I was such a chicken back then. It scared the bejesus out of me. It was so effective back then. Oh my god, it freaked me out. Um, Another reason why I like this version is because George C. Scott, who plays Scrooge, this is a very arrogant Scrooge, and you just want to punch him in the face because it's like, do you know if you don't change your ways, you're going to hell? And he doesn't get it. He has been so far down the line throughout the night, been visited by two ghosts so far, and he is still like, it's something I ate. I'm just hallucinating. It's not real. I'm like, are you for real? Are you for real? Are you for real? Like, oh my god, dude, you need to change. You need to change. And he is just bossing the ghost around. It's like, yeah, whatever. I don't care. Oh, shush. I'm trying to listen to what they're talking about when they're, they're traveling from past, present, and future. And the people that are linked to his life can't see him, but Scrooge and whatever spirit are watching them, and he's like just shushing the ghost and telling him he's trying to listen or whatever, and the ghosts are like, "Boy, you are a piece of work." It's just, God, Scrooge, you are something else. Yeah, it, he is just, he's so unlikable, and I love it. You just love to hate him. He is really a villain in this. He really is. And I just like the fact that he was sort of a tough Scrooge, and he wasn't a pushover. And it was hard to. It gives that tension. If you had never, if you don't know the story of A Christmas Carol, if you had never seen any adaptation, this really builds, and you don't know the ending, if you've never even read the book or heard of it, and you don't know the ending, it builds that tension up of, like, is he gonna redeem himself? Is he really gonna be, like, is he really gonna die? Because he is just not getting it. He's just still not getting it. Like, what is it gonna have to, what is it gonna take for you to change your ways, man? And I really love that. And you just think, wow, he, Scrooge might just bite the bullet in this. If and I'm just saying again, if you've never seen, you don't know the story of A Christmas Carol. The play on dialogue in this, it sort of moves like a play. They really get to the point of things. It moves. I like the pacing in this movie. It moves really fast. The dialogue, I think, is pretty good. Just the way they deliver the lines in this movie. I really like it. My favorite ghost in this is the ghost of Christmas Present, because he is he is something else. He is, his laugh is infectious. I love it. His laugh is so good. And his sort of banter with Scrooge is hilarious. Because there's a point where Scrooge is observing Cratchit, his employee, and Cratchit and his family are saying grace over their food, and they all say amen, and Scrooge, remember, they can't see Scrooge, and Scrooge is just observing. He's in the background. He's saying under his breath, like, amen. And the ghost of Christmas Present looks over to him like, what'd you say, Scrooge? And Scrooge is like, oh, nothing. Like, no, I thought you said amen. I thought you didn't believe in all that. What? Like, just saying. He really was like, I know you not praying. Devil, rich devil. Like, oh man, I thought that was really funny. Yeah, and he's very flamboyant. I love this Ghost of Christmas Present. He has this robe. The characters, he's like a festive Santa Claus, in terms of like it. The Ghost of Christmas Present always looks like Santa Claus on vacation or something. Because this version has, like, his chest is out a little bit. I'm like, he's got the little fuzz, the taco meat. I think he had a little taco meat, like, hair on his chest. He's got his chest down, his, like, his robe on, and he's just got his crown on. It's just hilarious. I like his look, his dialogue with Scrooge, and just, again, the banter between the two. The look of the film. I like how, and again, this is another one I hadn't seen in years, but I sat down and watched it for this video, and I was trying to, at first I was watching this, I'm like, and it just, again, I hadn't seen it in so long, and what the point I'm trying to get to is, like, the look of the film. It's so, it starts off, the opening scene, it starts off very gloomy looking. Everyone's clothes are very tinted, very dark. um it's very claustrophobic and very tight and closed and foggy and muggy, and nothing is bright. There's just, it's very tight looking. And I'm thinking, I'm like, and everybody looks kind of sloppy. And I'm thinking to myself, um, like, I don't like the look of this film. Everybody looks kind of drab. And everyone, it just seems like everybody's just done with Christmas Eve. Everybody just wants to get to Christmas and just move on with their their lives. And it's like, it's just everybody's so, blasé, and they're supposed to be like that. And that's the just the effect of how the film is set up. And I really really like that, how it plays with your mind. You're thinking like, this does not look good, this is not well shot. And then when, of course, when Scrooge is redeemed and he promises all the spirits that he's going to change his ways, boy, I tell you, when he comes out, this film has scope. There's like, the background is large, everything's big, everything's bright, the snow is bright, there's a little pop of color here and there, and it looks absolutely beautiful. I'm like, I like how they played that. They purposely made it look kind of dingy and not, not that good looking in the beginning. And because I'm like, the filming in this is not that great. And then the last, few shots where Scrooge is redeemed, everything looks amazing. Yeah, and I just like the play of just, camera work, camera angles, making things look smaller. And then when everything's at peace, everything is big, everything is bright and colorful. Yeah, so my overall thoughts, this is my number one favorite A Christmas Carol movie starring George C. Scott. It has a special place in my heart because I used to watch this when I was little, and it used to come on every year, and I absolutely love this film. So overall, those are my top three my favorite film versions of A Christmas Carol. Now, what I mean, and I want to ask, what are your favorite versions? You may like some of the ones I picked, or you may like um a different version. So I'm curious to know which ones are your favorite. Um, I wanted to get this video in before I do my review for Rise of Skywalker. I will see that on Monday and just give my overall thoughts on that movie. Please like and subscribe. And I just want to tell everyone, thanks.